Today I'm going to use the Kitchenaid mixer to make banana nut bread. This is going to be so good. It's a recipe with quite a few ingredients, so let me show you what they are. Of course, we're going to start with bananas. We're going to have 3 bananas, 2 of them mashed and 1 of them sliced. And there's a good reason for that too. Then let's start over here. We're going to have baking powder, baking soda, vanilla, some mini chocolate chips, some glazed walnuts, flour, sugar, sour cream, salt, cinnamon, and nutmeg. That's what's going to make the best banana bread that you ever had. Chocolate chip banana bread, that is. Okay, let's get started by mashing 2 bananas in the mixer bowl. Now I used bananas that are very ripe. The more ripe they are, the softer they're going to be, and they'll be very tasty in the banana bread. So pull the peels off and just throw a couple chunks in the bowl. Now I mentioned that 2 bananas get mashed and 1 is sliced. The reason for adding sliced bananas after the mixture is made is so that it leaves pockets of air, and then the bread gets a little bit chunky, which is really nice. Okay. Alright, let's just mash this up. Now you want it to be a little bit chunky. You don't want to make a soup out of it. Something like that. That looks perfect. Now I'm going to add 1½ cups of flour, and I'm just going to pour this in right all at one time. And I'm going to add 1 cup of white sugar. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. One teaspoon of baking powder. A fresh one here. I have some nutmeg here that we grind right into the container. It smells so good. We're just going to add a couple shakes of cinnamon here. It's going to be about 1/2 teaspoon. Then I'm going to use 1/2 cup of mini chocolate chips. And we're going to use some glazed walnuts. Now you can use walnuts that are not glazed, but this adds a little extra sugar-coated flavor. So I'm going to add about a whole cup of those. Alright. I'm going to use a teaspoon of vanilla. See, it looks like a lot of ingredients, but it goes together fast. I'm going to use 1/2 cup of sour cream. Some recipes suggest you can use Greek yogurt, so you could try that, or you could try applesauce. And I have 2 more ingredients in the refrigerator, 2 eggs. Pour 2 eggs in there. And the last ingredient is a sliced banana. So let me just slice that up so we can add it at the last minute. Alright, let's close up the mixer here and mix this up. I'm just going to make a batter that looks a little bit chunky like this. It doesn't have to be real smoothed out. It needs to be chunky to be nice banana bread. Alright, so that took care of that real quickly. Let's just fold in the banana slices. Oh, somebody got the rest of the nuts. All depending on what size bananas you have. You can probably make 2 loaves of bread out of this, or a loaf of bread and a couple muffins. But we're going to make a loaf first to show you this, and I'll probably end up making some muffins out of the extra. Doesn't that look nice? Yummy. Okay, this is a little bit tricky here. The banana bread is very soft in the middle and it takes a long time to bake, so we want to make sure that it's easy to get out of the pan. So we're going to take a loaf pan and spray it with some cooking spray. And then I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper. We're going to use this parchment paper as a sling to pick it up. So let's lay it in. And then we're also going to spray the parchment paper because this is tricky sometimes. You notice there's no butter in this recipe, so there's nothing to make it slip out. Okay, now once we have it all ready to go, we're going to pour in about 2/3 of the way up the pan side. Alright, you can see we have plenty left to make some other muffins or another loaf. This is how it's going to go into the oven, 350 degrees. And we're going to bake it about an hour, but we're really going to have to keep an eye on this near the hour because we want to make sure that the center of this is done well enough and that the outside crust is golden brown. So we're going to do that by just testing with a toothpick. You should preheat your oven first. So I'm going to use our Go Wise pressure oven just as a toaster oven mode this time. Oh, by the way, Rick is also making bread here. He's got, you want to show him at the top?
Alright, you can look in there.
Okay.
It's rising.
It's in there. It's a little bit. Oh, look at that. Smells good in here. That's good stuff.
It's rising at this point for the second time.
Yeah.
Then it's going to bake. I like that bread maker.
Now we have, that
Where
is
am I?
nice. It's nice to have fresh bread all the time.
Yeah.
So now we're going to bake this at 350 degrees, and I set the oven for about an hour. And I set the rack near the bottom. Okay, the oven's preheated. It's going to bake for about an hour. We'll be back to check on it. I just want to show you that I added 4 muffins to the oven because that's how much batter was left after we made the loaf. And now they're starting to rise and everything looks good in there. Alright, it's not quite an hour here, but I want to check them because they're turning nice and brown. So let's take a toothpick and stick it in Look how nice it came out as crumbs. That's really nice. Let's check the loaf. Oh, it feels really firm and nice. Perfect. We're going to take this out and let them cool. Alright, now the loaf is still hot, and I'm just going to loosen the side here and lift this out with the sling. See how easy that loaf came out of the pan? Alright, I'm going to let it cool sitting here on the plate for a couple hours. And also I want to show you, I used the silicone cups for the muffins, and they'll be easy to take out too, but they're too hot yet. Anyway, they came out nice too. We'll cut the bread later. We're having trouble waiting to taste this, so we melted a little butter on top, and we're going to try the muffins while they're still hot, just for fun. Alright, we left the bread cool a couple hours. Actually, we couldn't wait before we ate the muffins. We have one left here. But I just want to cut this open and show you how nice it looks. It's a nice recipe. The muffins were good. It's nice and moist, and it doesn't fall apart. It stays together like a nice slice. And
Good morning.
oh, we're gonna have this with some coffee this morning. And this is why I left the bananas in chunks, because you can see it made it nice texture in there. And those glazed walnuts were really a nice touch too. So try the recipe, it's a good one. I know when I have a bunch of bananas, I always look through my old recipes, but this is one that is a new recipe for me, and I think I'm going to keep it. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope you like your banana bread with the chocolate chips.